It's good, isn't it? But that's all he's ever done, it seems to be, other than this kind of performance that he's got in here. So he's he's got musical, he's got singles and albums and things. He's did some sumo wrestling. But he's some kind of TV personality who I'm guessing is this for like early teens or a teenager's kind of show. But he has to cut into his ranting, like, oh, there's a news broadcast, interrupting it, and then cut
whoops.
to Godzilla's out. Little touches like that are great.
Just a random lady, hi, just so you guys are aware.
We could have quite easily cut from Godzilla's out to the news broadcast, but having it cut into this other little TV show, it's very nice. I love it. Yeah. So this is when the Super X2 shows up and tries to fight Godzilla. It seems to work, but it gets damaged in the process because it's got this fire mirror that can deflect the laser beam back. Parts of it aren't hot enough, aren't capable of withstanding the temperature. Most of it can, the diamonds can, but not the casing that they're in, which is a huge design flaw. But hey, this is only the Mark II. So Mark III would be better. And at 51 minutes into the film, Godzilla enters the lake that Biollante is in, and they have a fight. But before the hour mark, Biollante has been defeated. Which I was not expecting.
In and out, real quick.
Yeah. They have a fight. Biollante's got these tentacles with mouths on the end of them. But it's a plant, and Godzilla can breathe fire. So it doesn't take too long for Godzilla to set it on fire. But what did you think of the fight scene?
I've always enjoyed it. The first one always I've seen it, but it always catches me off guard because here comes that plant arm out and it's immediately choking him out. And it's like, whoa, like this isn't the normal where I'm going to hit you, you hit me back. Like there has to be now a little bit of strategy to it because of the different way that Biollante is going to attack. And then, of course, you have them that are like moving under the water, so you can't necessarily see it either. Typically, when Godzilla gets in his fights, he's in a city landscape area. You can clearly see the other creature and what they're doing. When they go to pick up a car, you're like, okay, he's picking up a car, here it comes. But with the water added to it, you can't see what's going on underneath, and it's a little bit harder to kind of plan and plot and get your next maneuver ready. So I've always enjoyed it. Obviously, I like the one later on in the film more, but it was always cool to kind of add those extra pieces that were never really thought about before in Godzilla films, but specifically the fights.
I like how calmly everyone just kind of stands back and watches these two giant monsters fighting each other.
Just like
not that far away from them. just kind of stand back, arms folded, giving quite a kind of calm commentary on it. I wonder if Godzilla came here because he sensed Biollante was the same DNA. No! Revel in the giant monster fight!
Well, you got to think, too, this is the universe they're living in, right? And this is the 17th film in the franchise.
That's true.
So ever since 54, it's happened several times, and after a while they're just like, okay, cool. But at the same time, you've been to one football game, you've been to them all, but you're still going to get up and cheer when a big play's going on.
I suppose they don't know who to root for, and they're probably not going to root for Godzilla, but he ultimately wins. So they're not going to cheer at the end of this fight because their plant died, allegedly. So yes, this isn't the last we see of Biollante. The Biollante does come back, but it's
in a big bet.
That's it for a little while. So defeated for an hour, and I genuinely thought, well, that's Biollante dead then. That's the film. It disappeared into this cloud of sparkly dust. And then it becomes Godzilla versus Super X2 for the rest of the film. Not the case. So Godzilla depleted, needs to refuel. They try and work out where he's going to go. They guess one place and send all of their forces there. Godzilla decides to go somewhere else because not stupid.
I like that because he's not dumb.
Yeah, this isn't his first rodeo. He's got tired before. And so he heads to Osaka instead of wherever it was they decided that he's going to go. They like get a map out and like, these are the 4 nearest power plants he can go to. He's going to go to this one. He's like, nope,
Yeah.
somewhere else. So the psychic girl goes instead and tries to succeeds in talking to him psychically and convinces him to no, go away. This maybe went a little bit too far for me. I was like, oh, hang on, what did she say? I wanted to know a little bit, just a bit more. So, is there any more of these psychic connections elsewhere in the franchise?
There's psychic connections with Mothra. You have the 2 twins from the island that Mothra was born in, and they can help summon Mothra, and they help calm Mothra, and they're able to kind of control Mothra to an extent. So they show up. And then you have, oh God, I want to say, it's one of them, but the name is escaping me right now. But they have a little bit of psychic power, but it's more of just to like kind of freeze you in place. It's not necessarily like to take control of you or your thoughts or anything like that.
Okay. But it's not... There aren't many who can communicate with Godzilla psychically. That's
correct. It's more like some of them like, I feel his energy or I feel this, but nothing where it's like, hey Godzilla, can you do this? And he's like, gotcha, and then off he goes.
Let's go. Okay.
Hey, buddy.
So, yeah, she convinces him to head elsewhere, but it really wipes her out. Because she apparently uses the same amount of energy as Godzilla does, which she'd be dead. There'd be nothing left. She would be
exploded, probably.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a fight back in an office. More human stuff going on. Back in the Seradio oil office, there's a fight over a suitcase of material, the nuclear bacteria. This is all just kind of... I kind of lost track of who was doing what and why to what. I just didn't really care at this point. It's like, let's get back to the monster, shall we? This is what I'm here for. But Triple S9 gets the suitcase, he gets off the phone with his boss, then he opens the blinds to a window, looks out, and with the same level of annoyance that you'd be like, oh, if I forgot my lunch, I'll go to the vending machine and get a sandwich. It's like, damn, it's Godzilla. It just with the same, like, oh, it's raining, I've got to get to my car, I haven't got a coat. Oh, it's Godzilla. Oh, well. This thing who destroyed your city 5 years ago. And is doing it again now.
He's done went and ruined it.
Again. Oh.
Well, now I might as well add 15 minutes onto my commute now.
Yeah. One thing I do really like about these films is like the Godzilla sound is incredible. It's iconic, but I can't replicate it at all. But just that the noise that he makes when he roars, I love that noise.
I've always loved that, and I've always loved the score. Just them horns coming in, and then dun, 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 the strings and everything like that. Like, it's just too. If you don't have those two things in a film, it's going to be hard to enjoy it. Personally.
Yeah, I'm not normally a score person, but when I noticed it here, I was enjoying it. So yeah.
And it's always at the right points. Usually, now sometimes a film will try to force or kind of push it in there, but with this one, we see his face and it's like, oh yeah, he is not a happy camper. And then on the reverse, whenever we see the X2, which is supposed to be this like shining beacon of hope and light, we get some weird like Superman, Star Wars kind of mashup theme going on. Very John Williamsy with like the horns and just kind of very light and vibrant. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, nice. So humanity's the army and the scientists, their mission now is to stop Godzilla, and they have this nuclear eating bacteria, and so they work out, okay, we could put this in bazookas and then launch them at Godzilla and it'll slowly kill him. Great. And so that's the plan, and they use the Super X2 as a kind of a bait, because Godzilla it's met it before, it knows it can hurt him. And so they kind of draw him to the right spot in a city where they've got guys with the bazookas all positioned around to take him down, to shoot him. And they get 2 into him. The Super X2 gets destroyed in the process, I think. And then there's a third guy, he's like the leader of the bazooka crew.
Gondo.
Who is up in a building. This is the guy who's wearing giant sunglasses throughout the entire film, wherever he is. and he goes face to face with Godzilla. Godzilla is like next to him in the building, and this guy does not care. He's just the wall is gone. And he just looks at Godzilla and says, you should stop. What does he say? Like, you should stop with all of these like intravenous drugs or something.
Yeah.
And then he fires a bazooka into Godzilla's mouth.
He's just so nonchalant. He's like, yeah, what an idiot. Poof. And then he's like, just taking his time, packing everything up, not trying to like get out of there just in case. Just, nope, willy-nilly.
And then Godzilla destroys a building just to get at this one guy. Which is nice, because he's like, it's petty almost.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Godzilla understands about the bacteria. That'd be amazing if he did. But just to take out, because this guy, you're annoying me, you thing that is 1/200th my size.
At least he didn't do some kind of corny reach in there and grab him or like fire blast the whole thing. He's like, no, I'm just going to bring the building down on top of you.
Yeah, he's thorough. Yeah.
No loose ends here, bucko.
I just like the shot of Godzilla creeping up behind him.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't hear him, you know?
So he gets his bazooka shot off into Godzilla's mouth, so there's been 3. Apparently only 1 will be required, so the fact he's got 3 in him should be plenty. Until they work out that, wait, Godzilla, he's cold-blooded, and the bacteria needs to be warm to work, so they need to warm Godzilla up. Then in pipes our tech major guy, Kuroki, who's like, we could the M6000 TC system, which is a lightning generator, a thunder generator. It's like a giant microwave field, which makes him really hot. Fine, whatever, just do it. I don't care at this point. So they set up this giant battleship grid of hexagons, and little Godzilla there, and every time he steps on something, they activate it, and it heats him up. Okay. Whatever. Fine.
Yeah. This part I thought it was kind of neat, but it's not like they took him to a battlefield where they're ready and have some kind of defenses set up. It's more of like some weird, like tactical type thing. And they even one of mentions like, how can you survive this? Like, well, this tank couldn't survive it; it would just be gone. And I'm like, well, that's not really helping your case there.
And they set up this whole thing in like 2 hours. They even said, well, we've got 2 hours to do this. Let's go. And this is days. I'm thinking, but they managed to do it. And actually, I really liked the kind of the vector wirework map graphics they had. They even had a little wire frame model of Godzilla, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then that when that fades into the real one, that was a nice edit. So yeah, in Godzilla comes rampaging into this field. Every time he steps on something, it warms him up. But then Biollante shows back up again, but bigger and with way more teeth. Because Biollante has now evolved to be more like Godzilla. Yes, this is a plant with teeth, more like a Venus flytrap kind of thing, but also a crocodile and huge.
It's spider-esque too.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Lizzie, the big crocodile alligator thing in Rampage. If you saw Rampage,
I could see that.
Kind of looks like that, but a lot bigger and a plant.
No roses.
Yes. And yeah, more tentacles. I think I read something like 20 or 30 puppeteers were required to operate this
all the
creature.
Different wire work, yeah, which is really, really cool. Because typically it's like maybe 10 for when you're doing Ghidorah with the 3 heads and everything. But with this, it's like they really had to go above and beyond, which I really, really appreciated.
And that mouth, it's not just a row of teeth. It is literally full of teeth.
It's aggressive.
Yeah. And the shots of it moving with the camera all shaking like an earthquake because it's just ripping up the land. This is genuinely terrifying monster.
Yeah, it really adds. And again, it's that thing where, here comes all this intensity and borderline horror. I'm not going to say horror, but we walk that fine line. But then you have all that other kind of silly stuff, and it evens it out. So the film has the potential to be very intense, but I think it also knows like, hey, we got to pull it back because Godzilla is still supposed to be, I don't want to say family friendly, but still like accessible and not necessarily like dark and brooding.
Yeah, and it's got these like needle sharp tentacle vines that it spears Godzilla through the hand, and you get all this green slimy blood coming out, and yeah, this is brutal.
Yeah, it's aggressive at times too. It's just like, oh,
And then we just cut to people standing and watching.
yeah, just like,
another
oh
one.
my
Okay.
goodness.
I do feel like the thread of Shirogami's daughter's spirit being inside